So you want to play country drums? Well, it's time to put on your hat and your shit kickers, and we'll get to it, because I'm making this series of videos just for you. Maybe you just picked up your first pair of sticks and you love country music and that's what you really want to play. Or maybe you've been playing other genres for a long time, but you have the opportunity to get some work in a country band. There's some essential grooves and skills and things that you need to know about playing country music, especially in a cover band situation, that's different than a lot of other genres. Number one, unlike any other genre, besides perhaps disco, yes, I did just do that and I'm sorry for it, but it's the truth, country music is driven by the dancers. Every single set that I've played with Lefty, or last year with Barbed Wire, has to include a certain number of 2-steps, 10-steps, cha-chas, line dances, waltzes, all kinds of different things. And if you don't include the right proportion of those kinds of different dances, the floor is going to empty and you're going to lose your gig. I play on average 4 sets a night, and I couldn't get through a single one of them without the 5 grooves that we're going to work on today. So let's get behind the kit and talk about the 5 must-know country drum grooves. The first groove we're going to go over is the Nashville Shuffle. With it being a shuffle, we're talking about sort of a swing feel. So it's triplets, right? 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. We're going to take out the middle stroke, so the trip, and just have that normal swing pattern that you're used to. 1, let 2, let 3, let 4, let 1, let 2, let 3, let 4, let. We're going to put the kick on 1 and 3. We're going to put the snare on 2 and 4. There are some variations. We'll get to those in just a second with a few song examples. But the basic groove that you absolutely need to know is going to sound like this. You're going to want to be able to play this at a variety of different tempos. This groove is good for 2-step, some line dances, and some Texas and Western swing. But it's all going to depend on kind of the tempo that you play it at. In Lefty's band, we play a song by Randall King called Mirror Mirror. And it's this kind of swing groove, but it's pretty slow, kind of like the example was. It's going to go something like this. And you have kind of your mid to up-tempo songs, you know, your 120s, 130s, songs like Good Time by Alan Jackson or Boot Scootin' Boogie by Brooks and Dunn, which are going to kind of go a little bit more like this. And you heard a little bit of kick drum variation in there. Played a little 3-let right before the 4. 1, 2, 3, let 4, like that, right? So there's going to be some of that. When you get into your Texas and West Coast swing kind of feels, the tempos tend to be quite a bit faster. A really good example of this from the Bakersfield sound is Dwight Yoakam's Guitars Cadillacs, which clicks in at about 170 BPM. The second groove I want to talk about is the groove that gets played most often when you're asked to do a 10-step. Most times, you're going to be playing what we call a train beat. So it sounds like a train. Now, this is usually pretty fast, maybe like about 180 to 240. And I don't really like to hear the click track going click, 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 click. It messes with my head, right? So I usually put it in half. So if we're doing 220, I'll have the click track at 110. And if we think about it like that, Our kick drum is basically doing quarter notes, 4 on the floor. Our hands are doing 16th notes, and we're accenting the and, which will be your second right hand. So it'll be like 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and like that. This is how it sounds on the kit. The train beat is probably going to be the most likely time in a set where you're going to want to play with some different implements. Sure, sometimes you're going to use sticks. I use my regular sticks on Liza Jane when we play that by Vince Gill. But if I'm playing Chattahoochee or Past the Point of Rescue or Forever and Ever Amen or one of those songs, I'm going to go for some hot rods or some brushes, or if I want to be a little bit more aggressive, I might go for some thunder rods. Your most important consideration is going to be your dynamics, which is why a lot of times these grooves are done with hot rods or with brushes or something like that, is because you can accent on your snare drum almost as loud as you can with a stick, or maybe even as loud, because I hit stuff. But it's a lot easier to make those in-between strokes quite a bit quieter than it is with sticks, using the same level of stick control. It's kind of like this. And now with drumsticks. As you can see, the volume of the stick hit, the accent, is not much greater than the volume of the hot rod accent, but all of the other 16th notes are much softer with the hot rods. The third groove we're going to go over is the cha-cha. Now, the most important thing about this one is there's pretty much always something going on the end of 2. There's going to be an accent there. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a kick drum. Every once in a while, it might be a snare drum. We'll go over a couple song examples of each when we get behind the kit. So this would be kind of your basic standard cha-cha groove. There are a lot of variations. If you take a song like Neon Moon by Brooks and Dunn, you actually have 2 different grooves in that. Your verse groove is like this. So your kick drum is kind of going and 1, and 1, and. That kind of switches a little bit in the chorus to that song, where you're going 1 and 3, 1 and 3, like this. If you take another song like Drinking Problem by Midland, you actually have 3 different cha-cha grooves in that song. The verse is very similar to Neon Moon, like this. The chorus is very similar to Neon Moon, except for the hi-hat's doing kind of some 8th note accents. It goes like this. And the guitar solo has my favorite groove of the whole song, where you're going 1 and 1 and 4 and, like that, and it sounds like this, and you're on the ride cymbal. And then you have other songs like Nothing On But the Radio by Gary Allan, or Your Man by Josh Turner, which actually puts the snare drum on the and of 2, but it still, without question, has that cowboy cha-cha feel. And that's going to go something like this. No matter which way you slice it, though, there's always something accenting on the and of 2, and that's pretty much what makes it a cha-cha. Appropriately enough, the fourth groove we're going to talk about is 4 on the floor. Now, maybe if you're an experienced rock guy or even a novice rock guy, you're probably familiar with this groove. But it applies a lot in country music. Songs like 5150 by Dierks Bentley, Devil Always Made Me Think Twice by Chris Stapleton, a lot of Leaving Left to Do by Dierks Bentley. These songs all have 4 on the floor grooves, and there's tons more. Some of the accents might be different, some of the hi-hat patterns might be different, but ultimately it's just going to be that 4 on the floor with the snare on 2 and 4, and it sounds like this. What happens on this groove to vary it up a lot of times is going to be your accent changes with your right hand. For me, I play right-handed, so it's my right hand. If you're a lefty, you know, like Martin, it'll be your left hand. But whatever hand you're riding with, you might choose to do accents on the quarter notes like this. Or you might want to do accents on the ands, on the eighth notes, the upbeats. Give it a little bit more of a disco feel instead of a rock feel. Oh no, I did it again. Country and disco. That goes like this. You've made it this far. Congratulations. We're going to talk about the 5th and final groove today, which is the waltz. Now, country dancers will waltz to songs in 3/4 time or in 6/8 time, but the important thing is it's that kind of multiple of 3. So you might take a 6/8 song like Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton. People will waltz to that. You might take a 3/4 song like Waltz Across Texas or Old Habits by Hank Williams Jr. And people will also waltz to that. Now let's kind of go over these 2 different variations so you can hear for yourself what they sound like, what the differences are, and why they're similar enough to do the same dance to. A 6/8 waltz feel like Tennessee Whiskey, or Here's a Quarter, Call Someone Who Cares, or Sunrise Tells the Story is going to feel kind of like this. There's all kinds of variations in your kick pattern, some ghost notes on your snare. It's just kind of keeping that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 going. When you're looking at a song like Waltz Across Texas or Old Habits by Hank Jr., this is more of a true waltz. It's a 3/4 instead of a 6/8. So we're looking at something like this. Obviously, there is more to playing country drums, but these 5 grooves are absolutely essential to every single set that you're going to play in a country dance club. If you can get good at these 5 things, you're going to be well on your way, and it's time to schedule your audition for that hot country band that's looking for a drummer right now. I'm Corey Wilkins with Corey's Drum Takes. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and keep honky tonkin'.